So here we have a route that navigates to a course editor, and it's navigated by selecting any one of these courses, right? Notice that the ID of the course that we selected is part of the path. So it's a path parameter. We need to be able to load that particular course dynamically. So let's do that. First, let's make sure that we're getting that too in the component, right? That we are getting that ID. We need to make so let's go into the course editor, and let's render here that ID. Make sure that we have that ID here. Well, the way the router works is that when you declare a route, like we did over here, right? When you declare a route, that component is going to be passed a property, right? As kind of like an attribute, like an argument. It's called match, right? And in there is going to have several parameters. And those parameters are going to be, the names of those parameters will be the names of whatever you gave them in the route, right? So as part of that match, we will have a course ID in there. Okay. So here it'll be passed in as this dot props dot match. Is it match or matches? I forget. I think it's match. And then what's the name we called it? Param, and then course ID. Okay? Probably not. I got my names wrong. Is it match or matches? Is this implementing? So find match params. Okay, match params. All right, there we go. See the 2 here? It's because it's being parsed from this 2 right here. See that? All right. If this were 1, then this would say 1. If this says whatever, right, we would get that value. That value only makes sense to us, has any meaning to us. Our meaning is that it's the ID of the module that I want, of the course that I want to load. Everybody good? All right, so let's do that. Let's go and fetch that particular course. So how do we do that? The other day we mentioned that what we could do is to do that in the course did mount, right? And the course did mount is a lifecycle function, right? That gets called by the infrastructure when you are about to be rendered, right? It's kind of your last chance that if you want to add anything to the DOM, or if you want to go fetch data from the RESTful service, this is a perfect place to do it, right? So we're going to let's initialize a couple of things. So these are all the properties that are being passed to us, and we are going to pass it to our super component, to our parent component. Maybe let us start with an initial state, this dot state, and the state might be that the list of courses is empty for now. Okay. I'm sorry, not the list of courses. Let's see, the course, right? So we're going to, let's see, course, yeah, the course that we're going to be fetching. Okay. All right. So how do we load that course? So we're going to do that in component did mount. Right, so this gets called, and it's a perfect place to make calls to our service. And we had a service. I'm not sure if we mount. I'm not sure if we implemented the entire service. I think we only had delete, create, find all courses. We don't have, for instance, find a particular course. We never implemented that, right? So we'll need to implement it. Because here in the course editor, we would like to do something like, let's see, we need that service. So service, you can say course service dot instance, and course service. Oh, it was loaded for us. There we go. Is it instance? I forget. Did we call it instance? Instance, yeah, instance. We would like to do something like this dot service dot find me a course by its ID, and the ID is in that matches. Yes, right? Is which one? It's this one right here, right? It's this course ID right here. That's the course ID. I want to go fetch that. Once I have it, once it comes back to me from the service, I would like to set it as part of my state. Right? I like to set it as part of my state. So I'd like to do something like this is the course that's coming back from the service, and I'd like to say that this dot set state, and the state of course will be the course object that you pass in as an argument. Okay, but this doesn't exist. Find course by ID doesn't exist. Actually, it might be failing now. Yeah, it's complaining that it doesn't exist. All right, so let's implement that. Let's implement find course by ID in our service. All right, it'll be right here, something like find course by ID. Here's the course ID, and we're going to do a fetch. So it'll look very much like find all courses. I'm just going to copy this. Here it is, and I'm just going to concatenate the ID that you're passing me. Here's the course ID, and I'm just going to return whatever the server returns. Right? I'm going to parse it from the body, and I'm going to just pass it back. Right? So now it's a little better. All right, so this is course number 1, but there's a couple complaints. Let's see. Let's look at the console. All right. So I tried to go to the server, but the server says there is no course get number 1 or anything, right? The server doesn't have any of that, right? So it came back as not found, right? So I couldn't find that, which makes sense, right? We don't have that. So on the server, we need to implement that as part of the service, right? On the service, we only have what? Find me all the courses, create a new course, delete a course, but we don't have fetch me a particular course. So let's implement that. Let's implement it right here. I already have find all courses. What I want is find me one course, right? So get me a course with a course ID that I'm going to pass in as a path parameter. So find course by ID, and I'm going to parse the variable course ID, and I'm going to map it to a local variable, an integer variable called ID. And this is going to return me that one single course, right? So this is going to be return course repository dot find by ID. There it is, find by ID. I'm going to pass in the ID, right? And it's just one single course, just one single course. This is complaining, saying that it actually, right, optional course, right? So let's cast it to optional course. There it is. Okay, so this is going to fetch me that one course. They're going to fetch me that one course by its ID. Let's restart the server. Restart the server. Save, yes, obviously. All right, so now we have the client sending the request, the server now responding presumably with that one course. Let's see if if we can refresh here. Okay, notice that now we don't have any errors. Okay, it actually went out and fetched that course, and there it is. There's the course with the modules, with the lessons, with the topics, everything. It came back with that one course with all the information that I need. You see that? All right. We have the entire course. Excellent. If we ask for number 2 instead, it'll fetch number 2. Right, that has modules and doesn't have any lessons, right? Because we never added lessons to this particular course, right? To this particular module. All right, so let's focus on number 1. Right, we have that in the we could in the course editor. In the course editor, we could just display here that it could be something editing course and then the title of the course. Well, actually, no, we don't have the title of the course, right? We have the ID. Sorry, no, we have the ID. We have the ID, But we just fetched the course as part of this component did mount. Presumably, we have updated the state that now contains that course, right? So let's display it here. Hopefully, this will be displayed. We can now render this that state, that course, that title here. Hopefully, right? Because we fetched it and we set it in the state. Indeed, we did, right? Notice that we have the title of the course that we're editing. If we have number 2, it shows that we're editing course 5200, or we're editing number 3, 4550. You see that? Right. So we fetched it, right, and we added it to the state of the component. Excellent. So now we can start looking at displaying the modules, the lists, the lessons, and whatnot. So let's do that next.